this is Boog S Reviews, and today I'm going to be doing a review on the NECA Creepshow The Creep figure. So before we take a look at the Creep, let's take a look at the accessories that he comes with. So first up, the Creep comes with a Creepshow comic that actually has panels inside it, and it's based on the finger, which is from the TV show, and this is the one with DJ Qualls in it. I don't know if you can tell there by that last panel, but I thought that was really nice that it actually has real panels on it. And then you can see the back right there. So yeah, this is really awesome. There is the Creep holding the comic. And it's made out of a pretty sturdy material, so it holds up. And you can get him, it kind of just rests in his hands. He can't actually hold it. You more just have to play around with it and get it resting in his hands. But once you get it resting, he'll hold it really nicely. So there is him looking at his comic. Up next, he comes with a skull. And the skull looks really nice. It's got some black wash over top of it, as well as some brown painted there for the teeth. That looks really good. And this has a hole for a ball joint to go in. So I'm wondering if this was on a previous figure or something. I was thinking maybe one of the trophies from the Predator. But yeah, that's pretty odd that there's a peg hole in there. So there is the Creep holding the skull. And just like with the comic, it kind of just rests in his hand. It doesn't really, he can't really hold it. But you can get it resting on there, and once you do, it stays in there pretty nicely until you bump it, and then it will fall out of his hand. Up next, he comes with an alternate left hand for holding the lantern, and this hand is very soft and rubbery. That way you can get the handle in there so you won't break it or anything. His final accessory is this lantern, and the handle is very thin on it, and it feels pretty fragile. So I'm glad that NECA used a really soft type of plastic for his hand here. But yeah, this looks really nice. It's got a little bit of a wash to it. It looks really rusty. My only complaint is I wish it would have lit up. That would have been really, really nice. You can see it's hollow in there, so they probably could have done something like that. But yeah, it's probably something you could mod out to do yourself if you really wanted to. But it would have been nice to see that light up. So there the Creep is holding his lantern. And I think that looks really nice. It does stay in his hand if you have it like this, but if you move it around too much, it will drop out. That's the one downside of having such a soft, pliable hand, is that if you move it around too much, it will fall out. But if you have it like that, it should stay for the most part. So taking a look at the head sculpt, it looks very nice. Let's take the hood off there. That head sculpt is so good. The rotted skin looks really nice. It's cast in a darker color, and this lighter brown is painted over top of it. You have some glossy red. It's a really dark glossy red around the eyes, and the yellow eyes really stand out. You get his rotted teeth, again with some nice glossy dark red colors for the gums, and there in the mouth. That looks really nice. And he has some synthetic hair right here. It's glued on the top of his head, and it doesn't look the best on top of his head, because you can tell that it's glued. It's kind of hard right there. But looking at it like that, it doesn't look too bad. But yeah, this is pretty nice. And then the hood, it has bendy wire in it. So you can bend it however you want it. So let me put this back on him. The frame of the hood also has bendy wire in it, so you can bend it however you want to. And then the back of it does too, so if you want to bend it like that, or really just any way you want to. And I really like that. I love whenever we get soft goods for figures, and it has bendy wire in it, so you can pose it around. And I've gotten a lot of questions as to whether or not this is an Ultimate or a retro figure. And to answer that question, it is a bit of both. Of course, his robe is soft goods, but the articulation and scale is more comparable to Ultimates. He's not actually an Ultimate, but he has the articulation of an Ultimate. The ball-jointed hips, double-jointed knees, double-jointed elbows, stuff like that. So honestly, I think this is a great fusion of the two. I think that NECA did a really nice job on his robe, especially right here by the hands. It's torn and frayed and looks really nice. I'm not sure how they did it, but there is some paint over top of the robe, making it look really worn and dirty. And you've got some holes in it as well. And there at the bottom you can see that it's torn and tattered. It looks very, very nice. But the one thing is he has these ribbons that are sewn to the hood right here. And I don't remember the Creep having these. I even looked up images and I didn't see it. I watched the series and the movies, and I don't think that he had these. Or maybe I just wasn't paying attention for these. But yeah, I don't think that he had these. But yeah, if you really don't like these, you can really just tuck these inside the robe there. And he has some more great sculpt and paint detail to him. You can see all of his rotted skin right there. And I really like that NECA sculpted and painted all of this on, because since you're, of course, not going to have his robe off, they really didn't have to sculpt that on there. I mean, maybe up to here, but everything is sculpted all the way. And I think that's really nice. Like I said, since he has the robe on and you're not going to be taking it off, NECA didn't even have to sculpt that, but they did, so I appreciate that. You know, there's a lot of sculpted detail under here. Yeah, even all the way up here under his robe, his legs are sculpted, and this is a brand new mold and everything. Like I said, NECA didn't have to do that, but they did. So you get tons of sculpt detail and some really nice paint to it. Also, if you're wondering, he goes commando under the robe. He's, actually, I think he's just au naturel under the robe. Now, one thing with this figure is whenever you're posing this around, the hip tends to fall off. See? And this is a different type of joint for NECA. So when you're posing this around, definitely be careful. But it does just pop right back into place. His head does the same thing. Whenever you're posing it around, it tends to fall off. But it is a ball joint, and it can be popped right back on there. So if you pop it off, don't think you broke it or anything like that. So now, let's go over his articulation. He has a ball jointed head that can look all the way up. He can look all the way down. He can move his head side to side, and you get some pretty good tilting. But I can feel his head's starting to get a little loose, so I had to set that back down there. He has ball-jointed shoulders that can move all the way out. He has double-jointed elbows that can bend in all the way. He has swivel at the wrist that can move side to side and up and down. He has a ball-jointed diaphragm that can move back just a little bit. He can crunch forward just about all the way, and it can also move side to side. He has ball-jointed hips that can only move out that far. Lifting this up again, you can see there his hip bone right there does get in the way, so you'll only be able to move it out that far, which, you know, you're probably not going to want to get him in a ton of karate poses or anything like that, so that really doesn't bother me. He can kick forward just about all the way, even though right now he kind of does look like he's trying to do karate. He can kick back all the way. He can kick back a pretty good amount. He has single-jointed knees. I think earlier in the video I said he has double-jointed knees, but he doesn't. He has single-jointed knees. And he has swivel at the ankle that can move down all the way, up all the way, and an ankle rocker. Also, I forgot to mention, he has some really nice sculpt and paint detail on each of his toenails. That's a little odd detail, but yeah, it's sculpted really nicely. So yeah, the articulation on him is pretty good. Like I said, NECA really didn't have to give us that sculpt or that kind of articulation, but I'm glad they did, because you can get him in some pretty good poses. You won't be getting him into any crazy poses, but you really don't need to. So now let's do some size comparisons. So first up, here he is next to the NECA Retro Freddy Krueger figure in the tux. And as you can see, the only thing that these two share are cloth goods. This is not in scale with the retro figures at all. The retro figures are much larger, and they don't scale with him. And finally, there he is next to the NECA Ultimate Jason from Friday the 13th, Jason Lives. And as you can see, they scale pretty well together. Jason, of course, is a taller character, so he would be just a little bit taller, but the Creep does scale with Ultimate figures. So overall, I would highly, highly recommend this figure. It is very, very nice. I was pleasantly surprised with the articulation. With the robe and everything, I figured he'd have next to no articulation. But he has some really good articulation, and even the sculpt detail. NECA didn't have to sculpt all that since the robe is on him, but the whole figure is completely sculpted and painted. And that's really nice. That's a really good attention to detail. And the accessories he comes with are really nice. I love that Creepshow comic book that he comes with. So I would highly recommend this figure. So that's my review. If you like this review, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.